in Jammu and Kashmir, usual vehicular traffic on roads, shoppers strong markets for Eid shopping. Administration says no dearth of essential commodities. Government takes a series of steps to facilitate general public and employees in Jammu and Kashmir. Banks to open even on holidays. 6 markets established in Srinagar in the wake of Eid. 300 special telephone booths being established to help public communicate with their kins and relatives. Home Minister Amit Shah says abrogation of Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir will lead to end of terrorism and progress of the region. Hails Vice President Venkaiah Naidu for smooth conduct of Rajya Sabha during passage of the bill. INB Minister Prakash Javadekar says there is absolute peace in the valley. Centre terms media reports of large-scale protests in Srinagar as completely fabricated and incorrect, says there have been a few street protests. None of them involved a crowd of more than 20 people. Home Minister Amit Shah reviews a flood situation in Karnataka as he conducts an aerial survey of the affected areas, holds meeting with senior officials to evaluate rescue and rehabilitation measures. In sports news, second match of the 3 ODI series to be played between India and West Indies at the Queen's Park Oval in a port of Spain, Trinidad. First ODI was abandoned due to rain after 13 overs. Hello and welcome. You're watching DD India and DD News with me, Munmin Bhattacharya. Let's get started with our top story. Peace and normalcy prevails in Jammu and Kashmir as life gets on track following abrogation of Article 370 in the state. In Srinagar, vehicular movement was visible on city roads with people coming out of their homes for their routine work. Locals were seen moving around and resuming their daily routine. Autos and cars were seen plying on the roads. Markets also witnessed significant footfall as people turned up for shopping on the eve of Eid festival. People queued up at ATMs to collect cash. Other business establishments, banks, colleges and schools were also functioning normally. In Jammu Division 2, normalcy prevailed as prohibitory orders under Section 144 of the CRPC were completely lifted in 5 districts and curfew was relaxed in Rajouri, Doda, Poonch, Ramban and Kishtwar districts. The relaxation period passed off peacefully and no untoward incident was reported from any district during the relaxation period. With normalcy prevailing in Jammu and Kashmir, the administration has taken a series of measures for the general public and employees. According to the administration, treasuries and banks are being made functional during this period, even on holidays. ATMs are functioning smoothly with availability of enough cash. Salaries of all employees and wages of casual laborers are being released. Delivery of vegetables, LPG, poultry and eggs has been ensured at the doorsteps through mobile vans. 6 markets have been established in Srinagar city and 2.5 lakh sheep on hooves are available for public for Eid ul-Azha sacrifice. In the rest of the districts, the district magistrates have made elaborate arrangements for the forthcoming Eid ul-Azha. Ration cards in every district have started functioning to supply ration to the general public. Out of 3,697 ration cards in the Kashmir division, 3,557 ration cards have been made operational to provide ration to the general public. Special and elaborate arrangements have been made for safe and hassle-free return of Hajis from Saudi Arabia, for which flights will commence on the 18th of August. Wheat has been stocked to suffice for 65 days, rice for 55 days, mutton for 17 days, poultry for 1 month, kerosene oil for 35 days, LPG for 1 month, high-speed diesel and motor spirit for 28 days. Traffic is flying smoothly in Srinagar city and being regulated round the corner. All the health institutions at primary, secondary and tertiary level are functioning fully with doctors and paramedical staff. 300 special telephone booths are being established to help public communicate with their kins and relatives. To ensure water supply, staff has been deployed at pumping station and filtration plant round the clock. Union Ministry has termed as incorrect and fabricated a Reuters report on protests in Kashmir following the abrogation of Article 370. News agency Reuters showed a video claiming large-scale protests in Kashmir against the revocation of Article 370. A Home Ministry spokesperson said that the reports of protests involving 10,000 people in Srinagar were completely fabricated and incorrect. In a tweet, the spokesperson said there have been a few stray protests in Srinagar and Baramulla and none involved a crowd of more than 20 people. And for more updates, we are joined by correspondent Mark Lin from Srinagar. Mark, ahead of Eid festivities, how is the situation in the valley?
Well, Munmun, as things stand, the Section 144 restrictions are imposed in most parts of the city, but traffic movement is pretty brisk. People are moving around, but you know, they are not allowed to gather in large numbers. And I did try and go to a few of the mandis to see whether there is a lot of sale of sheep, and it has been a little subdued, but people are in fact buying and stocking up things for the festivities tomorrow. It is not as great a celebration as they would have liked, because many of the, you know, the situation is not as to their liking. There isn't any telecommunication links. So there are things that they're concerned about, but they do appreciate that the government has gone out of its way to try and make things available for people to have a good celebration. The situation is by and large peaceful, and one would say that there is no untoward incident reported from any part of the city.
Mark, are essential commodities being home delivered to people? Also, how is communication being enabled, especially in the wake of Eid?
Well, essential commodities have been delivered to people even in the remotest villages. There were control groups that were set up that had moved in mobile vans and delivered all the essential commodities to areas which are quite remote. The telecommunication links have not gone too far, but the people have, out of, you know, the ones that are available in the city, and I was witness to one yesterday, where large groups of people had entered into one of the boats that was available with a telephone line, and they did follow an orderly procedure where they stood in queue and made phone calls to their near and dear ones in different parts of the country and the world, and all those calls were free of cost, just to tell them what the situation is like. And there are people who want to call in to find out what the situation is like in Jammu and Kashmir, can call at certain numbers which the government has advertised and which are available in certain public offices, and they can find out the situation in certain areas which are close to those offices. So they know that, you know, people who are familiar with the terrain, they can call the nearest office, which all the government offices are functioning with the telephone infrastructure, and they can find out what the situation is like close enough to the homes where they stay. But if they expect people to, they'll have to wait for people to contact them through the number of PCO booths. The government had said that they were going to set up 300 of them, and they will probably do so in the course of time.
Mark, are hospitals and medical facilities available, and are they functioning normally? Are chemist shops open most of the times so that people can buy medicines during emergencies?
That is true, Munmun. In fact, I did see a number of medical shops open, chemist shops open, and yes, the hospitals are running. and government-staffed hospitals obviously are also running. But yes, there are dispensaries and maybe even private practitioners who are running. And because I've seen with my own eyes that there have been chemist shops that are open in areas where every single other shop seems to have been closed. So, and there are people who are going there to purchase their medicines because there are people who would require medicines, medication, people with lifestyle kind of ailments who need medication on a regular basis. So, and they're well stocked. The government has stocked all they have all the stocks of medicine and have been distributed to all medical shops in the region. So that is the situation right now. People have no need to worry as far as their medical supplies are concerned, and even if they have a medical emergency, they can go to hospitals which are open.
Mark, how is the J&K administration countering fake news that has been circulated in the recent past with regard to large-scale protests being held?
Well, the department, the J&K government has set up a media facilitation center where they interact with the media who are covering Srinagar and Kashmir on a regular basis. There are off-camera briefings, there are on-camera briefings. So we get an idea about what is happening as far as the administration is concerned, and they take every single question that the media puts to them, and the media has put these kind of questions to them, and the administration has firmly denied that any such rallies have taken place. They've also said that the situation has been under control, and there have been some sporadic incidents of people with small groups of protests, but they are not the things that have been mentioned in international media, which apparently have been large. In fact, I personally can tell you that I've been traveling for the last 3 days in and around Srinagar city, and I have not seen any single protest.
Mark, are people from outside the state of Jammu and Kashmir coming to Srinagar, to other parts of the valley, to celebrate Eid with their near and dear ones? Is that happening? Because the Prime Minister did assure that all arrangements will be made for those who would want to come to the valley to celebrate Eid with their near and dear ones, with their family members.
Well, I have been to a bus stand, and I can see that a lot of people are going out of Srinagar, not too many people coming in. Those buses are always packed, the buses that are going out. So I can assure you that people are moving out. Maybe there are some people who are coming in, but this is one area that I haven't quite gauged as yet. But perhaps I'm sure people who would like to spend time with their loved ones, especially in a time like this, when there is no communication links, will make the effort to come to Srinagar, and one can assure them that the situation is peaceful. They will find their way to their homes and celebrate Eid as they should, in an atmosphere of happiness and joy.
Mark, is there a slow and steady appreciation of the intent of the Union of India behind the abrogation of Article 370 and Article 35A, which is very much a subset of Article 370, with the centre emphasizing that there are several rights that were denied to the people of Jammu and Kashmir, which would now be available to them, and the kind of discrimination that several sections of society did face there would also go away, and several legislations, 109 to put the number exactly at, is the kind of legislations that were not applicable to Jammu and Kashmir, which should now become applicable with time.
Well, there are different shades of opinion. People are trying to understand the new reality. They're coming to terms with it. And of course, the shades of opinion will differ from, will range from, being completely against to some people being completely for. So there are all different kinds of opinion, but people are, by and large, are trying to understand what the advantages are, because the government of India is not imposing something which is going to be purely bring these people to a disadvantage. Their main concerns are largely with their own employment, whether their opportunities are going to diminish, whether their identity is going to be ruined, and these are some of the concerns that they want to raise with public figures, politicians, or even in dialogue with the media. But by and large, they are reasonably aware of what the situation is like. They probably are aware of the economic advantages that this kind of a move is likely to bring over time. But they are largely concerned a little bit about their own environment and whether it is going to be, in a sense, whether it is being taken away from them. But that people are trying to assure them that is not happening. In fact, their opportunities are increasing, and economic advantage accrues when you get attached to a bigger market share, with bigger markets, with larger scope, economies of scale develop. Tourism, horticulture, which are intrinsic to the economy of Jammu and Kashmir, can develop. There are so many other potentials apart from small industry. There is a potential for software. People here are very smart. They can, of course, the issue about education. There's healthcare. All these things will develop over time with investments, and they can see these advantages. But obviously there are apprehensions to start with, and that they have to be convinced over time to accept, and perhaps they are. And I think that that is the idea of coming to terms with the new reality.
Right. Thank you, Mark Lynn, for joining us with a ground report from Srinagar. Union Home Minister Amit Shah today said that removal of special status to Jammu and Kashmir under Article 370 of the Constitution will lead to end of terrorism and progress of the region. He was speaking in the launch of a book on Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu in Chennai today. Amit Shah said he firmly believed that Article 370 should be removed as it was not beneficial to the country.
मैं फर्मली मानता हूं कि धारा 370 से देश का भला नहीं हुआ, कश्मीर का भला नहीं हुआ, बहुत पहले हटनी चाहिए थी। एज अ होम मिनिस्टर मेरे मन में जरा भी कंफ्यूजन नहीं था कि धारा 370 के बाद क्या होगा। मैं निश्चित रूप से मानता हूं कि धारा 370 हटने के बाद कश्मीर के अंदर आतंकवाद की समाप्ति होगी और कश्मीर विकास के रास्ते पे आगे बढ़ जाएगा।
Amit Shah also hailed the role of the Vice President as Chairman of the Upper House during the discussion and passage of the bill related to Jammu and Kashmir.
वेंकैया जी की कुशलता का ही परिणाम है कि सभी विपक्ष के मित्रों को सुनते 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 इस बिल को डिवीजन तक कहीं भी कोई ऐसा दृश्य खड़ा नहीं हुआ जिसके कारण देश की जनता को ये लगे कि ऊपरी सदन की गरिमा नीचे आई है। मैं वेंकैया जी की सदन के संचालन की कुशलता को आज भी ये मंच पर से इसको एक्नॉलेज करना चाहता हूं।
Addressing the gathering, Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar said that there is absolute peace in Kashmir and not even a single shell of tear gas has been fired in the valley.
After 6 days, there is not even a tear gas shell has been used in Kashmir Valley. People are peaceful, people have already adjusted because they wanted this to happen, because they wanted their rights back.
Prakash Javadekar also said that with the removal of provisions under Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir, 106 legislations will now be applicable in the Union territory, ultimately benefiting the people.
370, abrogation of 370, creating a Ladakh new Union territory, giving people of Jammu and Kashmir their rights which were denied for years together. For 70 years they were denied. 106 acts which are applicable throughout the country are not applicable in Jammu Kashmir. And then when he gave it, there was practically all corners supported him in the House, and 370 was abrogated with 370 exact votes in Lok Sabha.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah today released a book titled Listening, Learning and Leading, chronicling the 2 years in office for Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu. The book was released in Chennai at a function organized by Information and Broadcasting Ministry. The Vice President and the Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar were present on the occasion. Home Minister Amit Shah said the Vice President has always been in union with the nation, feeling its pain and pulse, adding that this is what has been made him a successful leader in public life. INV Minister Prakash Javadekar hailed the Vice President for effectively managing proceedings in the upper house of Parliament. He also said that Venkaiah Naidu is respected by all members of the House, irrespective of the party they belong to. The book captures the glimpses of the Vice President's 330 public engagements across the country in the last 2 years. The book also showcases the Vice President's tenure as the Rajya Sabha Chairman in enhancing its effectiveness and promoting its efficiency.
Learning is a continuous process because the world is advancing. We are a global village now. Things are happening, new technology, new ideas, new innovation, out-of-box ideas. Science is making improvements. So new things will come out. And you have opened up, and you are living in an era of LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization. So everything is competition now. So you have to go on learning. That's the purpose of calling all these great learned people here to this function.
The Vice President also viewed an exhibition on the occasion.
देश के उपराष्ट्रपति और राज्यसभा के चेयरमैन के नाते वेंकैया जी राज्यसभा का और पूरे देश का मार्गदर्शन करते हैं। ये विधि का ही विधान है कि जो वेंकैया नायडू ने 370 के खिलाफ आंदोलन किया था, धारा 370 हटाने का जब प्रस्ताव आया तब वेंकैया जी राज्यसभा के चेयरमैन के नाते उसकी अध्यक्षता कर रहे थे।
As the rain fury continued unabated in most parts of Kerala, rocked by 80 landslides and floods over the last 4 days, the toll climbed to 60 on Saturday, even as more than 2 lakh people have been taking shelter in over 1,500 relief camps across the state. There were reports of let-up in rains in some parts, while the Met Department issued a red alert for 3 districts, Wayanad, Kannur and Kasargod for today. Various agencies, including the Army, Navy, Coast Guard, NDRF, Police Force, volunteers and fishermen are involved in the rescue operations at various places. Rail, road and air transport took a hit in the state, with several trains being cancelled, while some other diverted due to floods. The international airport at the state's commercial capital, Kochi, which was closed for 2 days after inundation of the runway, has resumed operations this afternoon. Union Home Minister Amit Shah today conducted aerial survey of flood-hit Belagavi district in Karnataka. Chief Minister of Karnataka B.S. Yediyurappa also accompanied the Home Minister. The Home Minister will also interact with officials involved in the rescue and relief measures. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman had also visited the flood-affected areas in Belgaum. Meanwhile, rain has subsided in Belagavi, but water released from dams has inundated several areas. The relief and rescue operation continues as around 2 lakh displaced people and over 55,000 livestock are evacuated from 245 villages in the district. Over 370 relief camps have been opened for the affected people. All schools and colleges, both government and private, in affected flood-hit districts will remain closed till 15th August. The Karnataka government on Saturday declared 80 taluks in 17 districts flood-affected, even as the death toll rose to 26 and thousands of people were rendered homeless. Over 4 lakh people have been evacuated to safer places from flood-affected parts of Maharashtra in the last 5 days, including over 3.5 lakh from the worst-hit Kolhapur and Sangli districts, where water began to recede slowly. While the overall situation, especially in Kolhapur and Sangli, improved slightly from Saturday, evacuation of people from flooded areas continued. Apart from local administration, NDRF, SDRF, Army, Navy, Indian Air Force, Coast Guard teams are involved in the rescue and relief operations. Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis reviewed the rescue and relief operations in Sangli on Saturday. Southwestern Air Command Chief Air Marshal H.S. Arora, while giving inputs about the rescue operations in Gujarat and Maharashtra, has said that the Air Force is providing all assistance in the flood-affected areas, while adding that the Air Force has deployed 8 helicopters for relief and rescue operations.
To provide assistance in the prevailing flood situation in Gujarat and Maharashtra, Southwestern Air Command has deployed 8 helicopters and more are standing by for this task. In addition, transport aircraft are ferrying in relief material and teams as per requirements projected by the state government. So far, All rescue requirements for marooned people have been completed successfully. We are committed to meet all demands and help and save our fellow citizens.
The situation of floods is getting back to normal in Gujarat. However, the local administration has advised people to stay safe as there is forecast of rain today. The level of Vishwamitri River is being constantly monitored by the administration. Floods have affected several parts of the state. Waterlogging was witnessed due to heavy rain in several areas of Rajkot and Kutch. Several teams have been deployed in the area to rescue people as heavy rains wreak havoc in Gujarat, in which many lives have been lost. Heart-wrenching visuals emerge from the flood situation every day. However, sometimes heartwarming pictures of videos of rescue operations are also seen. One such video comes from Tankara town of Morbi district, where a Gujarat cop risked his own life to save two young girls from gushing flood waters. Students of a school in Kalyanpur were stranded after incessant rains lashed the area for 5 hours. As 43 children were trapped in the school and water was accumulated around it, the worried school administration sought the police's help. Constable Prithviraj Singh Jadeja was part of the police team. Two rescue missions were flown by helicopters of SWAC late last evening from Jamnagar around village Balabha, Jamnagar district. 14 persons were picked up by Wing Commander UC Vaish by landing at a narrow road, while Wing Commander Vishal Jain winched up 16 marooned persons from an inaccessible area. Several crocodiles have also been rescued during floods in the city. The death toll from Typhoon Lekima rose to 32 in eastern China, even as rescue teams worked to find more than a dozen people still missing after the storm triggered a landslide and forced the evacuation of more than 1 million residents. The monster storm hit Wenling city early on Saturday, packing winds of nearly 190 kilometers per hour and generating waves several meters high along the coast. At least 18 people were killed in a landslide triggered by torrential downpour in the municipality of Wenzhou. A further 14 deaths were announced today, but it was unclear if they were from the same incident. 16 people were still missing, according to Zhejiang provincial authorities. More than 1 million people were evacuated from their homes ahead of the typhoon. According to authorities, the natural disaster has caused economic losses of more than 15.8 billion yuan. Muslim pilgrims poured onto the plain of Arafat, southeast of Mecca, to mark the day of Arafat during the pilgrimage. The day of Arafat, considered the most important day during the pilgrimage of Hajj, sees pilgrims making their way to the site of Mount Arafat to spend much of the day in prayer. Beginning on Saturday, it would continue till Sunday evening. Muslims believe that Prophet Muhammad delivered his last sermon to believers at Mount Arafat. And with that, we come to the close of this news bulletin. News and updates will continue on DD India and DD News.